Infinite Love, presenting New York Times bestselling author Anita Moorjani. It will take place at the McAllen Convention Center on March 27th at 7 p.m., and we invite you to attend. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. I have the pleasure of speaking with Miss Anita Moorjani right now. I understand that you have a unique message of survival against cancer. That is your story. Tell me a little bit about your journey.
My journey was that I actually had lymphoma. I had cancer for 4 years, and over the period of 4 years, it had spread throughout my lymphatic system. And I actually reached end-stage cancer, where my organs had finally shut down.
Oh, my.
And at that point, I had tumors. I mean, some of them were the size of lemons, and they were from the base of my skull, all around my neck, under my arms, had spread throughout my lymphatic system into my breasts and all the way down to my abdomen. So it had metastasized and spread, and my lungs were filled with fluid, and my body stopped absorbing nutrition, so I weighed about 85 pounds. I reached a point where I couldn't walk anymore because my muscles had deteriorated, and I was connected to an oxygen tank all the time. And so on February the 2nd, 2006, I went into a coma where the doctors told my family that my organs had now shut down and that I wasn't coming out of the coma, that I was basically dying, and that these were my final hours.
What did you see? Exactly. What did you see in that coma?
So while I was in that coma, in fact, the first thing was I felt amazing. I felt free from my body. The pain was gone. It was completely gone. And I was aware that I was dying, and I encountered my father, who had passed away 10 years prior to this, and I felt as though he was telling me it was not my time and I had to go back. But a lot happened because time is not linear in that realm, so I absorbed a lot, which is what I wrote about in my book and what I speak about in my speeches. But the main thing is I understood what caused the cancer for me. And I also understood that if I did choose to come back into my physical body, if I chose not to go into death, that my body would heal now that I knew this truth.
You were given that choice?
I was actually given that choice. Now, I want to say here, it was so beautiful in that realm. It was so amazing.
Why'd you come back, Anita?
I know.
Why'd you come back? Man, you should have stayed there. Man, you're with your dad. I mean, you could be hopping around the universe for all eternity. Why'd you come back, Anita? Wow.
I know. When I look at the world today, I still ask myself.
Oh, man. Boy, that last selection sure made you think twice, didn't it, huh?
Yes, exactly right.
All right, so let's keep going. So, hey, by the way, you said time is not linear in that existence. And do you have a sense of how much time or how long your conversation was with dear old dad? I mean, how much time did you spend with him?
See, it felt like I spent an eternity. It felt like everything I learned while I was there, it would take me a lifetime to learn it here. But I was only in the coma for 30 hours. I came out of the coma and I healed very quickly because it felt like the healing already took place over there. And so as I started to awaken, come out of the coma, my body just had to catch up, and it took 4 days for the cancer, the tumors to reduce in size by 70%.
To see the faces of the doctors and nurses at that time as you healed. You talked about...
They didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't even know what to write in the medical records. They were like, we don't know what to write in here. We don't know what's going on. They just couldn't understand it.
At the end of the evening, that conversation you have with them, what do you want folks to come away with?
I want them to come away with insights of their own, because what I do is I share my story not for the purpose of telling them that, oh, look, this is what happened to me, but it's more like I share it because I want to tell them what I understood about the reasons why I had cancer, so that it may trigger insights within them of what's going on in their lives. And I want them to feel that no matter how bad things are, no matter how bad things may seem, they can turn on a dime. They really can. And insights can happen to us at any time. And that's what I want to try and awaken within them. And I like to create an environment where that can happen. And that's really my purpose. And I will speak to them about the lessons I learned. I will go into a lot of detail about why I believed I had cancer, why I believe I had cancer, and also about how our conditioning, what we learn in life from the time we're young, how it contributes to our lack of well-being today. Because what I learned on the other side is that everything that we learn here in the physical is actually the opposite of what it is we need to know or need to be doing in order for our lives to work. No wonder we're so messed up. No wonder our politicians are the way they are and we give our power to the wrong people. It all makes sense from the other perspective as to what it is we're doing that is creating what we're getting.
30 hours on the other side. You said it was 30-hour coma. If I could just take it down. Yeah, right? It was 30 hours? Okay.
It was 30 hours. The coma was 30 hours long, and the way it felt, though, it's like if you imagine you've been blind your whole life, and imagine that you've never seen. So you've been blind from the time you were born. So you've never seen color. You don't know what it means when someone says something is blue or red or green. You have no idea because there's no reference point. There's nothing to compare it with. You don't know what depth is or what distance is. You don't know how people can see distance. You have to physically walk it or travel it to measure distance because you have no sight. You don't know what up or down is because you can't look up because everything looks the same, whether you look up or down or this side or that side. So imagine how limited your world is if you are blind and you're born blind. But imagine if one day you have sight and you can see. And when you have sight, suddenly it's like, oh my God, it all makes sense. Not only does color make sense and distance make sense and depth make sense and everything makes sense, you suddenly understand why you were walking into things. You understand what it is you were walking into. You understand how to walk around it. And this is what happens when you have a near-death experience. The world makes sense, and you understand how to avoid the pitfalls, and you understand what it is you were supposed to be doing, which you never knew before, that now you know what to do. And those are the kinds of things that I plan to speak about.
You're just sparking so many questions. In that 30-hour earthly 30-hour journey that is in a place that has no time.
Yes.
What did you see? What did you hear? I'm dying to know. What did you taste? Did you see yourself? Did you see John Lennon? I mean, what did you see on that other side? Can you go into greater detail?
Yes, I will be going into greater detail at the conference, and I saw all my deceased loved ones. I felt like I was surrounded by beings. I didn't recognize all of them. I recognized some of them, but I knew that they were there. They all loved me unconditionally, and they were there helping me through this process. But I also saw, because time is not linear, as I said, I saw my past, my present, my future. I saw what awaited me in my future if I chose to come back. I saw how...
Wow. Yes. I'm still blown away by the fact you were given a choice and you decided to come back and endure several more, I don't know, news cycles, election cycles, seasons, cold weather, flu, sniffles, all that type of stuff. You came back to live all that. But for you, you're telling me your dad said it's not your time. This is your life's calling. This is your purpose. You got to come back and talk about this.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what he actually said, that you have not fulfilled your purpose yet. This is your calling. You have a calling. And he wanted me to know that even what I had been through was part of the journey to fulfill my calling. And that if I don't go back, I would have wasted that part of the journey.
There you go. So
that the gift, he
understood.
said the gifts were about to reveal itself if I go back. It's like all of life is woven together like a giant tapestry. And if you imagine that you have this giant, beautiful tapestry, beautiful, complex picture, but it's a complete picture. And from that realm, you see the complete picture. But imagine if you get up really close to the tapestry and you see it's woven using silk threads of all different colors. And imagine if each of these threads is one life. And imagine that you identify the thread that is your life. Your life in linear time is you traveling the journey of that one thread, one point of time at a time, as you go through, as you follow the journey of that thread weaving through that tapestry. So when you are at one point of time in your physical body, on your journey as that one thread, you can't see the whole tapestry. You can't see the effect your life has on the tapestry, what it's contributing to. You can't even see where you are about to touch other threads who will then go on to touch other threads. You can't see where your past, you can see where it's touched other threads, but you can't see where those threads have gone on to touch other threads. So each of us has this huge impact on the whole tapestry.